Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 16, National Football League. The capper, Monday Night Football. Last Monday night game of the season. San Francisco 49ers hosting the Atlanta Falcons. When the schedule makers put this one together, they thought they were putting together a dandy as the Monday night capper. They thought they were going to have two 10-4 teams, a 9-5 and a 10-4, an 11-3 and a 10-4. They thought they were going to have an epic matchup between two of the teams that were the last four remaining in the National Football League in 2012. They were putting together a rematch of the 2012 NFC Championship game, and they thought they had done a magnificent job of putting together a game that was going to cap off Monday Night Football and be a big late season matchup. What they couldn't have expected was the 49ers to be 10-4, but the Atlanta Falcons to be the inverse of that at 4-10. So essentially, they've set up a game where the 49ers need it. They're trying to get in. They still have a shot at winning the division, and they need to win just to be able to stiff arm the Arizona Cardinals from taking their playoff spot. And meanwhile, the Atlanta Falcons are just playing for pride. They don't have much to play for. They're not a good football team. So you look at this game and you're like, I don't think this is going to be a very good game. I'll give you a little backstory and then we'll jump into the breakdown of this game. One of my sisters is an Atlanta Falcons fan. And I was watching the football games on Sunday at my parents' house, and we were all over there watching the games. And my sister said, hey, I'm not watching Monday Night Football. My team sucks. We're not going to win that game. We're playing the 49ers. I said, yeah, you're right. You're not going to win that game. And she said, I'm not even going to watch. I'm going to bed early. And my dad said, hey, don't do that. Watch the game. And I said, hey, you can save yourself 3 hours. You can go ahead and go to sleep. You're not going to miss anything. She said, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sleep. I said, I don't blame you. And so essentially what I said to her was that you're not going to win. You don't stand a chance. This is the final game at Candlestick. 49ers need this game. You just want to win. You want to play spoilers. That's not good enough to beat a good team at home like the 49ers in the last game ever at that stadium that has so many memories, that's going to have so many legends in the building. They're not going to lose in front of those guys. They're going to annihilate you. And so what I thought I was getting was a nice old-fashioned ass kick. And what I ended up walking into was an instant classic. So you get what I'm doing there? Ass kick, classic. You like my rhyming skills? I thought that this was going to be a sound thrashing, as my college professor used to say. But it was anything but. I mean, this was a really entertaining football game. I enjoyed every second of this game. And this is what I'm talking about. This is how you have pride about yourself. And they talked about this on Monday night. The Falcons are 4-10. They have nothing to play for. They're not a good football team this year. But they're playing with pride. They understand that they have a job to do, and they're going to go out and do it to the best of their abilities. They got backup linemen out there. There's no Julio Jones. You got all kinds of guys out there filling in at different spots. They got two undrafted free agent rookie linebackers starting. Worilo and Barto Joplu or Joplu Barto or whatever his name is. And they just got a lot of guys out there that you can't win with. At least you don't think you can. But they went out there, they scratched, they clawed, and they made this a really good game. And so, wow. Let's get to the breakdown of this game because I didn't expect this. I didn't expect a good game. Now, the outcome was what I expected. The 49ers win. But how we reached that outcome, didn't expect that. 4-10 Falcons at the 10-4 49ers. Last game in Candlestick. It was a nice scene. I mean, to see all of the old 49ers and some of the old Giants that played there and them rehashing all the old memories of that stadium, I think it went out with a nice shebang, if you know what I mean. It was a really nice scene to see, all the old players, Roger Craig and, Steve Young. You knew he was going to be there because of him working for ESPN on Monday night. But, Jerry Rice, Eddie DeBartolo, to see all of those old legends at that game, it was nice. It was really nice. It was a nice scene. So, fill the boot from 49 yards out to get the scoring started in this game. It's 3-0 San Francisco. And I said, okay, And that's a nice little modest start to this game, but it's about to get out of control. That's what I was thinking the whole time as I'm watching. I even questioned whether I needed to take notes or not because I thought that this game was going to get out of control, but I said, nope, I'm going to take notes just in case. I hate when I don't take notes anticipating a blowout, and then the game's close, and then I got to go back and take notes. That's the worst. So I said I'm going to take notes, and if it gets out of control, I'll just stop. 59-yard catch and run by Drew Davis, and what a beautiful spin move he put on. He's like, nice little game day 98 action on a spin move. Matt Ryan uses a little escapability to make that play happen, which sets up a Whitner personal foul up. NFL has to stop with these personal fouls, especially when they're not warranted. All right? What do you want the man to do? Steven Jackson is about 245 pounds of pure muscle. The man is a load. What are you supposed to come in there tiptoeing and pussyfooting and trying to hit him? You got to come and you got to lower the boom, and that's what Dante Whitner did. He lowered the boom, and he didn't do it with his helmet. He did it with his shoulder, okay? Now, you can't listen to Jim Harbaugh on anything because on every single penalty flag on the 49ers, he's yelling at the top of his lungs. He's animated. You would think that the 49ers never commit a penalty ever. So you can't listen to Jim Harbaugh. But he was right. It was the shoulder this time. But see, that's what happens when you cry wolf. When you cry wolf all the time and you're actually right, nobody believes you. It's like the old fairy tale, okay? You can't cry wolf all the time because when the wolf is actually there and you're crying wolf, nobody believes you. It falls on deaf ears. So if you're Jim Harbaugh, stop complaining about every single call because when you're actually right and you actually have a gripe, guess what? The referees aren't listening to you because you complain about everything. Stop it. But this was a case where he was right. This was shoulder. This was a lethal hit, and it was a clean hit. Now, the officials tried to sell me on the fact, because the microphone went out, they tried to sell me on the fact that he was flagged for not only personal foul, but taunting. He didn't taunt. Okay, he got up, he walked away. Steven Jackson got mad because he got lit up and said something to him. There's no taunting element here. They just wanted to cover their tracks because they knew they made a mistake on the personal foul. There shouldn't have been any call there. That was a clean hit. I don't know what else to say on that matter. I mean, the 49ers have been the subject of a lot of controversial calls that haven't went their way. This was another one, but it wasn't as big. It was at the beginning of the game, and so you can look past that, but they got to stop with these flags. Every time somebody takes a vicious hit, even if it's clean, they just throw the flag, and they got to stop with that. But that personal foul leads to a 2-yard Steven Jackson touchdown, 7-3, and then you see why you got to come with the hammer, because on this play, Whitner tries to come a little bit softer, and Steven Jackson just bounces off of him like a pinball and backs his way into the end zone. That's why you got to come and lay the hammer on Steven Jackson. And that's what Whitner did, and he got penalized for it, and I don't like that. 7-3 Atlanta after the 2-yard Steven Jackson touchdown. And I love when he scores because you get the, you get the little punch. I love it. 7-3. So maybe Atlanta's going to show up. I'm still not sold. Carlos Rogers does what Carlos Rogers does best, drop the interceptions. He drops the football. That's what he does best. He couldn't catch in Washington. And it was funny because the next year after he leaves Washington, the guy has like 6 interceptions, it seems like. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But he's back to the old Carlos, the one that can't catch. Drops a potential pick on a lengthy Falcons drive, which allows the Falcons to get a field goal from 35 yards out with Matt Bryant to extend their lead to 10-3. And that's your score at halftime. So you're saying to yourself, wow, the 49ers are struggling in this game because everybody knows the Falcons' defense isn't very good. Look, you can't sit here and act as if Matt Ryan still isn't under center and Roddy White and Tony Gonzalez still aren't out there catching passes. The offense is going to move the football, okay? But the defense that they put out on the field isn't very good. So you're thinking the 49ers are going to be able to exploit them, and Kaepernick is going to find Crabtree. He's going to find Vernon Davis, and he's just going to have a field day on them passing the football. But it just didn't happen for whatever reason. Vernon Davis, I think he banged himself up early in that first half. He was out for much of the first half. And you got, and look, Vance McDonald has been a disappointment. He's wide open on the corner route. He slips down. Nobody touches him. He just falls down on his own. And you can see the disappointment in Kaepernick's face. Like, come on, man. You got to make some plays, dude. You're dropping footballs. You're open. You're not catching them. You're falling down. Nobody touched you. What are you doing, man? And so that was disappointing. But 49ers just couldn't get right on the offensive side of football. They're down by 7. But you still don't feel like they're going to lose this game. At no point did I feel like they were going to lose until later in the game. But even then, I still had guarded and cautious optimism for the Atlanta Falcons. I never thought that they were going to win the game. Totally. I was never sold on them actually winning the game. But then I expected the 49ers to rev it up. VD drops the ball on second down, but after O.C. Umenyiora penalty extends the drive, Krabs goes for 45 on third down, leads to a 10-yard Anquan Bolden wide receiver screen for a touchdown. It's 10-all. So I was expecting the 49ers to get nasty. Come with some VD and some Krabs and really get nasty on the Atlanta Falcons. You know, really infect them with some of this stuff that they got out there out wide at the receiver and tight end position. I thought VD would get off in the second half and really start to do some things to help them get on track offensively. And then you know Krabs is going to get off as well. But VD dropped the football wide open on the first possession of the third quarter in the second half. He really wasn't a guy that had an impact in this game. But O.C. Umenyiora with a silly... Look, as a veteran, how do you line up offsides? Inexcusable. Can't happen. He knows better than that. You're looking at the football. His head was like this. He was looking down the line at the football. How can you not know that you're offsides? Back up, man. And it was an incomplete pass. They would have had to punt. Instead, they get the free 5 yards. It's 3rd and 5 now instead of it being 4th and 10 and the 49ers having to punt. And they get 45 to Krabs on that 3rd and 5, which leads to the Quan 10-yard wide receiver screen for a touchdown. It's 10-all. When you're a bad football team, when you're 4 and 10, those are the type of things that you do. You line up offsides, give the team a second chance to pick up a first down on 3rd down, and they do so. That's what 4 and 10 teams do. That's why you are 4 and 10, and that's why the 49ers are 10 and 4. Because they don't make those kind of silly mistakes, and you do. So, now it's 10-all. After a questionable pass interference call on Worrylow, look, sure, he wasn't looking for the ball, and I don't know if he... Look, it wasn't pass interference. John Gruden and Mike Tirico didn't think it was pass interference. I didn't think it was pass interference. I just... That was a bad call. You know, and so 49ers catch a break there. And maybe that was the football guys evening up the score because of that bogus personal foul on Dante Whitner. Maybe that's what that was. And that was on a 3rd down pass to Bolden, so they would have had to attempt a long field goal. And again, Phil the Boot probably would have pounded it home. But you'll take your chances with a 49, a 52, 56-yard field goal being kicked than them getting a football 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line because of a bogus pass interference call. So, Phil the Boot adds a 30-yard field goal to the scoreboard. It's 13-10. 49ers take their first lead of the game since 3-0 earlier on in the first quarter. Niners go 9 plays, 61 yards, in 4.5 minutes as calls his own number from 4 yards out on the quarterback draw, and the 49ers now lead 20-10. This is when I thought they were going to start to run away with this game. You could start to feel the momentum changing in the game. You could start to feel the Falcons saying to themselves, here we go again. They got us. They're better than us. You could start to see the wheels turning. I thought the game was over at this point. 10-point lead, all the momentum in the world in your favor. If you're the 49ers, you're at home, crowds rock us, last game at Candlestick, everything's in your favor. I thought the game was done. I thought the Falcons were going to fold up their tents, pack it in for the night, and say, all right, we gave it a valiant effort. They're just better than us. That's what I thought was going to happen at this point. Thought the game was over. 17 unanswered points. Don't see the Falcons putting up much of a fight from here on out. Wrong. Matt and Roddy turned back the clock. They turned back the hands of time. This was Matt and Roddy circa 2012 right here on this drive. As Roddy continues to shred the 49ers D, catches a huge 3rd down grab. It was 3rd and 11. He catches a pass in traffic for 14 yards. And then caps off the drive with a beautiful 39-yard TD strike in between double coverage. Brings the Falcons back. This looked like the 49ers, Falcons team from last season. The one that would take shots down the field. The Falcons team that I've seen this year, They don't take shots down the field. They rarely take shots down the field and exploit team secondaries. And last year, you could count on the Falcons taking at least 3 or 4 shots down the field. Whether it was Julio or Roddy, they were going to take some shots. And they were going to hit some. They were going to pick up some pass interferences. They were going to make some things happen down the field. They just haven't done that this year. And even in the first half of this game, everything was short. 49ers were sitting on routes. And Roddy was having a field day. Like I said, he turned the clock back in this game. 11 catches, well over $1. That 39-yard bomb was a thing of beauty. He separated at the last second, faded to the football, perfectly thrown ball by Matt Ryan in between double coverage. Eric Reed was sleeping on the play. He got blown by. And Tremaine Brock, he just got ran by as well. I mean, it was just beautiful execution by the Falcons. And like I said, they turned back the clock. That was classic, vintage Roddy and Matt hooking up. That was beautiful. 17-20. Maybe they're not going away quietly. I don't know. But just when I thought maybe they were going to scratch and claw their way back into this game, I thought the 49ers had a perfect response to this. 49ers respond by pounding the rock. Gore dominates on the drive, and Kendall Hunter breaks off a 45-yard run down to the 4-yard line, leading to a Frank Gore 1-yard TD plunge. It's 27-17. And at that point, I say, okay, now they're done. If I thought they were done before and it came back, that drive took every ounce of fight out of this Falcons team. They're done now. Down 10. We're getting into the later stages of the fourth quarter. They're done. No way that they're coming back after that drive. The 49ers literally pounded the rock down their throat. They handed it to Gore. They handed it to Gore. They handed it to Gore. He got chunk after chunk after chunk. And then when he went on the sideline to get a breather, they turned around, handed it to Kendall Hunter, and he broke off a 45-yard run. And I said, yeah, they're done. They're finished. They can't come back after that drive. That was demoralizing. They're done. Falcons won't go away quietly as Tony G catches a 2-yard touchdown catch. And the Falcons try an onside kick because of a personal foul penalty on the touchdown, and they recover 27-24. San Francisco leads. Falcons with the ball at the San Francisco 30 with 2 minutes and 9 seconds remaining on the clock. Wow, what a sequence of events, okay? So the Falcons get a touchdown pass. Tony G catches a touchdown grab 2 yards out. They call a personal foul penalty on Ahmad Brooks for roughing the passer. I don't know if I really agree with that call or not. He did hit Matt Ryan in the head, but it looked like it was soft contact. Really didn't need to be flagged for it, but whatever. They called the personal foul. They tack it on the kickoff. And so what that allowed the Falcons to do with all 3 of their timeouts and them kicking off from midfield, they could kick an onside kick, and even if they didn't recover, if they hold the 49ers 3 and out, they're still going to get solid field position. So it allowed them to get 2 opportunities to get the football back. Try the onside kick, and even if we don't get it, we got all 3 of our timeouts, plus a 2-minute warning. We can get the football back, and if they got a punt, we'll still get solid field position. That's the way they looked at it. So they said, what the heck? Let's just kick it. Let's kick the onside kick and try to get it. And it was a beautifully executed kick. The 49ers loaded up on the right side of the formation, thinking that the Falcons were going to kick it that way, and it looked like they were going to kick it that way. And at the last second, the kicker, Matt Bosher, squibs it to the left. And they had Anquan Bolden on the right side, and they had Navarro Bowman, lined up on the left side, and they squibbed it right to Navarro Bowman. And the ball took such a gratuitous bounce for the Falcons. I mean, he was expecting a big hop right to him, and it was like a shortstop fielding a ground ball that he's expecting to hop. It's been bouncing all the way, and then all of a sudden, it hits the lip of the grass, and it kicks off, and it goes straight under your glove. And it was just like that to Navarro Bowman. He's expecting it to hop up to him, and as he has his hands slightly off the ground, the ball hits its nose and trickles right under his hands. Straight. There's no hop. It just goes right under his arms, and then it kicks up, and Jason Snelling is running down the sidelines and grabs it with one arm and pins it to his legs, gets 2 feet in bounds, and it was just the freakiest thing you'll ever see on an onside kick. I mean, you can't execute an onside kick any better than that. I mean, it was beautifully executed. Everything was flawless, and everything that needed to happen, that had to happen on that onside kick, happened. I mean, wow. You can't do it any better than that. And so the Falcons have the ball, 1st and 10, 3 timeouts, 2 minutes and 9 seconds left at the 49ers 30-yard line. They're already in field goal range to tie the game up. It's 27-24. They're already in field goal range to tie the game up. The way the offense has been moving the ball in the second half, hell, they can take the lead. On the 49, and this is the point of the game where I started to think, maybe the Falcons can actually win this game. And I'm feeling some type of way about the Cardinals being 10-5 right now and potentially not getting into the playoffs. And so, in my warped way of thinking, I'm like, hey, maybe the 49ers can still get in and the Cardinals can get in too. But it's not going to happen. I said, no. No way that the 49ers lose the final game at Candlestick. That just can't happen. It doesn't seem right. No way. And so I'm like, I'm waiting for the 4-10 Falcons to show up. I'm waiting for them to make that one mistake that a 4-10 team makes at the end of a game when they have a chance to beat a 10-4 team. I'm waiting for that one mistake. I almost had an epiphany. I'm like, for 1 second, I'm like, wait a minute. The Falcons can win. And then I go, man, what are you talking about? No way the 4-10 Falcons beat the 10-4 49ers in the last game at Candlestick. It's not happening. Stop it. It's not happening. So I woke up and I said, okay, what mistake are you going to make, Atlanta? Who's going to fumble the football? Remember that Thursday night game, Falcons at home versus the New Orleans Saints, had a chance to beat them, got the football, driving in for the go-ahead score. And their young receiver out of SMU, Johnson, fumbles the football. Saints recover. They never look back and they win that game. I was expecting something like that to happen. They got the game. They can see the finish line, but they can't cross it because they're not good enough. It's that type of season for the Falcons. Well, that play came in the form of a Matt Ryan pick six, and it really wasn't his fault. Look, Harry Douglas has to fight for that ball, and he has to catch it. Okay? Now, I will give the 49ers defense credit. Tremaine Brock was all over that slant pattern. All over it. And he darted in there, and he fought for the ball, and it popped up in the air, but the hustle on that play by Navarro Bowman, extraordinary. I've never seen anything like it. Okay? He was in on the blitz. It was an all-out blitz. Okay? They threw the kitchen sink at the Atlanta Falcons. And I tell you what, if they hit the right guy on that play, it's a touchdown because they came with the house. Vic Fangio threw the kitchen sink at Atlanta on this particular play. And Navarro Bowman was one of the blitzing linebackers on that play. And for him to abort the blitz because he got picked up by the center and run to the football. And this is what they teach you. They teach you 11 hats to the football. Everybody run to the football because you don't know what's going to happen. They always say, good things happen when you run to the football. And that's what Navarro Bowman did. He ran to the football. And while Harry Douglas and Tremaine Brock were fighting for the football, and it ends up getting batted into the air, Navarro Bowman walks over to an early Christmas gift. Ball lands into his hands, he corrals it, and he takes off down the sidelines 91 yards for the game-clinching score as the Atlanta Falcons have done everything in their power to win this game. Make that 4-10 mistake. What a 4-10 team does to lose. They make that mistake. And I think Matt Ryan's face at the end of this game, and they get a beautiful pan shot of Matt Ryan as he watches the 49ers celebrating the end zone, as he's in disbelief at what just happened. That face, that look that Matt Ryan and Tony Gonzalez have on the sidelines is priceless, and that to me defines their 4-11 season to this point. Matt Ryan has his helmet on. It's still strapped up because he's in disbelief. He can't believe what just happened. And he's watching the 49ers celebrate the end zone, and he's like this. Like, he's totally stunned. And Tony Gonzalez looks like he wants to cry on the sidelines. He's like again, I can't believe this. And he's just sitting there like this on the bench, like. And to me, that defines the Falcons season right there, in a nutshell. Those two faces, no words to describe the season. Those two looks right there. Pictures worth 1,000 words. Those two pictures, those two still shots, says it all for me. That's the Atlanta Falcons season in a nutshell. And you couldn't have sent Candlestick out on a better note than that. I mean, what a whale of a ball game. That was a classic. And Navarro Bowman, after the game, they talked to him, and you could sense that he felt like he owed his team something because that onside kick went under his hands. He felt like he owed it to his team to make a play. And boy, did he ever. What a play. What a game. Falcons drop this one 34-24. 49ers get it done. They clinch a playoff berth by going to 11-4 on the season. And they're still in a division with Seattle losing to Arizona and dropping to 12-3. If San Francisco wins and Seattle loses, San Francisco wins the NFC West. I don't see it happening. But you never know. St. Louis is no slouch, and they're not afraid of Seattle. And that invincibility at home is now gone. So, I don't know. I just feel for Arizona in all of this because I want them to make the postseason. They've won 10 games. They have a chance to beat San Francisco next week and get to 11 wins. And if New Orleans doesn't lose to Tampa Bay, which I don't see happening, then they can't go to the playoffs. And it's unfair. It's unfortunate because they've played good enough football to make it to the postseason. They beat some good teams this year. They've played some really good football. And because they're in a division because they're in the best division in football, they're going to get punished. And it's unfortunate. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. Okay? And you can't cry over spilled milk. 49ers get it done in exhilarating fashion. What a football game. Again, I thought I was going to walk into an ass kick, and I got an instant classic. And so that's the heart of a champion. And the Falcons have a heart of a champion because they could have given up so many times in this game. And they could have looked at their 4-10 mark and said, what are we doing? What are we doing trying to win this game? But they didn't do that. They fought, and they almost stole this game. And they made it compelling football. But the 49ers, they showed the mettle of a champion, and they got it done 34-24. Great game. 49ers go to 11-4, clinch a playoff berth. Now they got their eye on the division title. And even though that's a long shot, they need help, and they have to win. Anything's possible. As you saw in Week 16, anything's possible. Who thought that the Arizona Cardinals were going to go into Seattle and win? So, we'll see. Going to be some compelling stuff in Week number 17, that's for sure. Falcons fall to 4-11. They gave it a valiant effort, just came up a little short in the waning moments of this football game. So, that's going to do it for Week number 16 in the lab room. I got a couple more games to break down, but that was exhilarating stuff to cap off Week 16 in the National Football League. So come back and join me. I've got plenty more games to break down in Week number 16 in the National Football League. And remember, that happens in the National Football League, whether big or small. We cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me. Got plenty more games to break down in Week number 16 in the National Football League.